Chapter 56. Isla awoke all alone in the room. Her phone displayed a new text message. It was from Steve. Gone out to look again. He had left a handwritten note saying the same. Reassured that he was communicating and covering the relevant bases, she checked the other messages on her phone from friends in England asking if she was okay. She was far from okay, and judging by the tidiness of the bed and the number of miniatures next to his chair, Steve was still in a bad way. He clearly hadn't come to bed, but the minibar was empty of drink, although the chocolatey snacks were untouched. She could only imagine the state he was in. She tried his mobile, but he went to voicemail, either because it was out of charge, the network was down, or more concerningly, he had turned it off. She went to her room to wash and dress for whatever today had in store. Much as she wanted to be there for him, she briefly considered the inconvenient truth that Steve no longer wanted the sort of support she could offer. In the absence of any other ideas or direction from Steve, Isla went back to his office. Jackie was still there. She had not moved since yesterday morning. Devon had been out on another fruitless trip, but came back when it was clear that his efforts were useless. As individuals, they had already acknowledged that Jared was gone. Isla told them Steve was missing again. Jackie hadn't seen him, and they both seemed to be out of all ideas. The girls exchanged numbers, and Isla returned to the hotel. It was the best place to wait. Jackie was falling asleep and gave in. It was time to go home. So, after locking up the cluttered office space that now desperately needed tidying, they left together. There was nothing more to do here. Isla tried Steve's phone again. Nothing. Her concern grew. She couldn't support somebody who wasn't there. She felt immersed in the collective pain of the city, but selfishly she was becoming concerned that her embryonic relationship with Steve was in trouble yet again. For a while she was useful, willing to act out the role of the supportive shoulder that a loving partner provides, but since their fruitless search around New York had ended earlier that morning, she seemed suddenly redundant. At the hotel, her team were typically in the bar. Most of them were seasoned visitors to New York and had some friendships with people who were in the towers. With a significant number of Brits, missing or confirmed dead, most of the cabin crew knew one or more of these regular passengers. They had all built up familiar relationships with many of them over the years, and now their faces were the ones filling the television screens. Isla slipped into the chair next to Sally. She couldn't put into words what had happened with Steve. There had been no joy in their reunion since Steve reappeared yesterday, and she knew he was alive, if not well. The unbroken CNN coverage dominating the main screen ran video of the towers collapsing. They showed some new footage of survivors. Isla looked at the TV and the footage that panned the crowds running away from the approaching dust cloud as it consumed everything. They couldn't outrun it. Everybody looked the same, and it was difficult to see any identifying features. They were a mass of limbs covered in dust that Armageddon dropped upon them. The footage then cut to live broadcast by the Hudson River. An excitable presenter revealed more details of the day before. Isla was drawn to the images of the two people sitting behind the correspondent. It took her a second to be sure, but there, sitting next to an older woman, she saw Steve. She recognized the place from the landmarks she regularly passed on her morning runs. She instantly got up and ran from the bar, jumping into the nearest taxi. Pier 64, quickly. She was there within minutes. Most of the city had taken the day off, and the suburbs closest to Ground Zero were cornered off, so the normally hectic roads were quiet. When she got there, the broadcast was finished, and much of the crowd had dispersed. Their macabre interest moved on to the next sensation. Steve was still in the same seat with the older lady next to him. Isla wanted to keep her appearance low-key and wandered over towards him. He saw her coming before she had time to speak. Although she couldn't make out who the woman was, the lady was in tears. Steve looked furious that the private moment was interrupted. He got up to meet Isla, and his face was set and angry. Isla clearly wasn't welcome and felt as though she was gate-crashing. She'd really screwed this up. Isla, what the hell? I'm so sorry, Steve. I know I messed this up. I saw you on the news and wanted to know you were okay. Are you? No, of course I'm not, but that doesn't make this okay. I'm a grown man and don't need some woman I barely know following me around. I need to have time on my own. I'll explain later. I haven't got time for this. Please go now. Isla felt awful. She'd walked into something private and wasn't welcome. She was horrified with the way Steve had spoken to her. He had never treated her with anything less than loving respect, but this was somebody she didn't recognize. She ran back along the river path towards the hotel.